Now, if he demands from the bank, assuming he wants to use this statement for something, and then he demands, the same Bill of Rights says the bank can charge him. Okay. But apart from that, apart from his demanding, if he is entitled to get a free monthly statement from his bank.
Okay, so what is the CPC saying to financial institutions to help them serve the consumer better?
The CPC is saying this Bill of Rights was brought out by the central bank. The central bank should also monitor that the banks are keeping to this Bill of Rights of customers, because it is so important. Apart from these rights, the customer also has some duty. Don't forget, because each right comes with some rights come with duties too.
Yes.
Oh yes. So what the CPC is doing is that the CPC is, through a program like this, is creating awareness so that consumers will know their rights and also know their duties.
Yes.
Yes. You know, because one expects that the Consumer Bill of Rights in the banking sector should be in every bank, displayed, so that once a customer comes into the bank, he knows, he sees these rights,
so
right on the wall.
Should give full disclosure.
Yes, full disclosure. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at what CPC has done to support consumers, and we'll also look at the complaint mechanism. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you've missed a little bit on an interesting issue: consumer rights in the financial sector. We've discussed the rights and obligations of consumers as well as the role of financial institutions. But don't feel disenfranchised. You can follow us on our Twitter handle, our Facebook, and of course you can reach us in any of our contact details which are being scrolled on your screen. So I'm going to throw this question to both of you. Let's look at what CPC has been doing. Can you tell us some of the success stories of CPC? And I would also like you to throw some light on CPC's investigation of FCMB Bank.
The CPC had received a complaint from the Bauchi State government against the First City Monument Bank PLC. And the gist of it is that they are taking two facilities, and that they had been overcharged by more than R1 billion.
Wow.
Naira.
That's a lot of money.
So we're investigating this. That is where I'll stop on that. And then after the investigations, consumers will get to know what our findings are.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what about the success stories? Is there anything that has happened that CPC has done and consumers are really excited about?
Oh yes, there are so many success stories in the financial sector. I mean, the fact that there are consumers are surcharged and hidden charges made on accounts, you know, chargebacks. For example, we have been able to have consumer refunds ranging from 35,000 to almost R1 million.
Wow.
Some of them
impressive.
bordering on hidden charges on their accounts, you know. And that's to say that, please, we need to inform consumers, check your bank statements. A lot of us just disregard that document as if it's your money. It's an explanation of the transactions on your account. So some consumers were diligent enough to look at their accounts and discover that some monies have been deducted without any authorization.
Wow.
And on our investigation, we made sure that where those complaints were credible, the banks have indeed refunded those consumers. And ATM reversals, we have cases where you are charged on your ATM, you know, and there's no dispensation, the cash is not dispensed. And also where, in fact, sometimes you go on the POS machine, you have no money, extra cash, you use your card on a POS machine, and your account has been debited, and there is no evidence of value to the merchant, in which case you still have to pay cash.
Of course.
And then revert back to your bank to make the reversal. We've had cases of such also.
Wow. Kudos to
Successful.
CPC. Viewers, You've heard directly from CPC. We encourage you to come forward with your complaints in the banking sector. So I'm going to ask one more question, Mrs. Adeyinka. Many viewers watching now will ask, is CPC now the regulator of the financial sector? How is CPC related to NIDC, CBN, and all of those other bodies? What's their role?
CPC is not the financial regulator. The financial regulator for the banking and banks and financial services, the regulator for banks and financial services is the Central Bank of Nigeria. And the Central Bank of Nigeria has the responsibility of ensuring high standards of banking practice and financial stability. Okay. They regulate the business of all banks and financial institutions in Nigeria. In other words, what the banks are doing must be in line with what the Central Bank of Nigeria expects of them. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, there is no perfect market. The CBN regulates the businesses of banks. And obviously, since there will be there is no perfect market, it just presupposes that there will be imperfections.
Of course.
And the customer will be the one shortchanged, or consumer rights will be the one infringed upon. And that's why the Consumer Protection Council was also established by the federal government of Nigeria to protect and promote consumers' interests in all areas of products and services, including the financial sector. So when the businesses fail, because they will once in a while,
most definitely,
and consumers are not happy, then the place to go is the Consumer Protection Council. So government is just like a building block. When it stops at the business regulation and consumers are affected, it comes to the CPC to make sure that those grievances are redressed as mandated by our law.
Thank you. Mr. Chukwujeko, how would you encourage consumers to complain? What's the complaint mechanism at CPC?
The complaint mechanism is the first step is, if you have a complaint against your bank, the first thing you do is to go to your bank. Make sure that it's written. If you go to, for instance, an ATM and cash is not dispensed, you walk in, complain, they'll give you a form. If they don't give you a form, you take a sheet of paper and you write your complaint. Now, don't forget that for these complaints, the CBN already has a laid down procedure for them. Okay. Each of them is time bound. It's not something that you complain and then it lasts
forever.
Yeah, it takes forever. No. Each of your complaint is time bound. So when the banks don't answer you, of course, the next place you come to is the Consumer Protection Council. And as you're coming, the same, complaint, make sure you have your, it's written down, bring it to the Consumer Protection Council. It will be acknowledged. Okay. After acknowledging, of course, we'll write to the banks, explain. And you find out that in most cases, once we do these letters to the banks and the complaint is resolved. Of course, if it's not resolved, we escalate.
Yes. How do you do that?
If from Section 2 of the CPC Act, assuming we write to the bank and the bank doesn't take anything, of course, the redress mechanism comes in.
Finally, let me take the last word from you, Mr. Chukwujeko. What is the future of the relationship of the consumer and the bank and other financial institutions in Nigeria?
The consumer has a very bright future in this country because he's going to be more informed.
Okay.
So it's never going to be business as usual. And why do I say so? Because the central bank already knows that and has set up a consumer protection department to also help consumers when they have issues with the financial institutions. The Consumer Protection Council is very alert.
Okay.
So, and because of that, it cannot be business as usual. Finally, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed and means well that all sectors of our economy must work. And with that, of course, it will not be business as usual.
Of course, of course. Thank you, Mr. Chukwujeko and Mrs. Adeyinka. It's been such a delight having you in the studio today, and it's been educating interacting with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam.
Viewers, don't go away. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have an update on the activities of CPC. We also have a segment on Consumer of the Week. You may contact us if you have exercised your right or gotten redress from CPC, let us know and we can bring you on the program to educate other consumers in similar